Welcome to Theater Crafts, where we take theater memorabilia and we make brand new treasures. Okay, today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're inspired by theater. In fact, we're inspired by theater songs that relate to food. So we're actually going to make tea towels today. I've been doing this for a very long time and giving them as gifts to my theater friends. So today we're going to take towels and we're going to add theater lyrics or songs that are appropriate for the kitchen. So this one obviously is Little Shop of Horrors. We've got Snoopy here. And obviously we've got Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast. But there are tons out there. You could do Sweeney Todd, with Worst Pies in London. You could do Ice Cream from Anne of Green Gables. We are going to do Food Glorious Food from Oliver today, and the example that I'm going to show you today. So today we're going to make tea towels inspired by musical songs. All right, let's get crafting. Okay, so today we're going to start in Cricut Design Space. So if you've never used a Cricut, it is a cutting machine. And so we're going to affix the design onto the tea towels using a heat vinyl. So it's a heat transfer vinyl. And I'm cutting the vinyl out with my Cricut. So Cricut is a cutting machine. And so I'm going to start in Design Space. So in Design Space, we're going to, we're going to look at, I did Beauty and the Beast for Be Our Guest. I had Supper Time from Snoopy in the examples. And there are a whole bunch of other musical theater shows. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do from Oliver, Food Glorious Food. So I've opened a new project in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go to Images here. And I put Barbara Razor because I was thinking of maybe doing Worst Pies in London, which I thought would be kind of fun. So let's see. I'm going to put a bowl. Okay. And let's see. I like this one. So I'm going to add that. Now that is huge. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. So if you see on the top here, it tells you how big it is in inches. So we're going to keep these. I don't want it to be too large. And I've chosen to do them all in black and white. You can certainly do yours in color if you would like. So now I'm going to add some text. And I'm going to add Food Glorious Food. Okay, and again, that's too large. So we're going to, you just take the corners and you drag it, just kind of like you do in your word processing programs. Now, I can also change the font if I don't like that particular font. There are lots of different fonts within Cricut Design Space. No, I don't like that one. Let's see. There are one that's going to cut nicely, especially in. Let's see what that looks like. I'm not opposed to that one, honestly. I kind of want it to be able to be read easily. Let's see. No, I don't like that one for this. All right, well, let's go with that one. So I'm going to actually bring that down just a little bit more. And so we've got that ends up being about 6 inches across. So now when you're doing a project in Design Space, especially a project that you're going to use the heat transfer vinyl, you actually need to flip it. So when you make, I'm going to click Make. Okay, I'm just going to save it. I'll save it to my drama collection. Food Glorious. Oops. Food. Okay. Oh, oops. All right, so this is actually good so that you can see what happened here. So the Food Glorious food is actually in a different color than the black bowl. So I'm going to make them the same color. I'm actually glad that happened so that I can show you how to do this. I'm also going to attach these. Okay, so if you notice, I dragged them both and I attached them right here. The reason for that is now they're going to be one. Okay, so they're not going to, sometimes when you make it, it will move things just to conserve on space. And so I'm glad that happened. So I'm going to go to make. So now you see that's together. Now, like I said, you need to actually mirror this. So there's a button right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's behind, I think, my face here. But it's a mirror button. Okay. And you want to click that. And then you're going to click continue. And it will show you what it's going to look like on your mat. Okay, so I'm actually going to stop recording here so that I can go over and show you what it looks like on the mat. All right, I need to show you how to put this is the HTV, the material that we're going to cut on the Cricut. So I want to show you HTV is put onto the mat a little bit differently. So I don't know if you can tell, there's a shiny side. This is the shiny side here and a duller side. So you want the shiny side to be face down on the Cricut mat. Okay, and so you're going to kind of flatten that out as much as possible. Then and if you remember, I reversed, so I mirrored the image, and that is going to cut it out backwards on this, and you'll see why in a moment. All right, so I'm at the Cricut here, and I just inserted the HTV into the mat into the Cricut itself. And then at this point, you go back to the computer and you're going to click continue. And you'll see what happens here. It says you need to connect your Explorer, which it is. It takes a moment to acknowledge that. Okay, and I've set it to iron on. You can see here that it is set to iron on. And then I'm going to go over and I'm going to start the machine. And when starting the machine, you're going to press, you see this is flashing. That's the Cricut emblem. That is flashing, and that means we are ready to go. So clicking that. Okay, so I have taken the vinyl off of the mat, you can see here, and I cut it down just to make it a little bit easier to weed. So I don't know if you can see the design there. It's a little tricky to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the weeding tool and we're going to try to grab the corner here. And now it's going to, sometimes it's easy to come off, sometimes it's not, and you're just going to be patient with it. And so you start to pull the excess vinyl. You're going to be careful, sometimes you're going to lose some of the pieces. Actually go quite satisfying, I have to say. A lot of people like weeding. I'm not a fan of it necessarily. But okay, so, and it might be hard for you to see, but I can see where the lines are and where to take out the extra vinyl. See that? And then I have this little gadget to grab the extra vinyl. So I'm taking the inside of the, put it right in there and get rid of it because it's very sticky. It kind of sticks to everything, honestly. So I'm taking the extra bits out of the letters on the inside here. And if you notice, it's backwards. As you remember, we mirrored it. This gets really sticky. It doesn't want to come off. These are projects that are not quite as tedious to read. I've had some projects that have taken hours to read, so this one's not quite so bad. You can certainly do any sort of tea towel quote. I just thought this was really fun to do. Musical theater show songs that are related to the kitchen and food. I've made these for friends, theater friends before. I have some in my own house. I think it's a fun theater gift, especially if you're doing one of these shows. You know, you could do The Worst Pies in London if you're doing Sweeney Todd. You could do Ice Cream if you're doing Anne of Green Gables. There are so many different shows with food-related songs. Okay, and there it is. Looks like it's all of it. And there it is. You can see there on the right side. All right, so I'm at the ironing board, and I have my tea towel here. I got these tea towels in a package of, I think, 24, and I've made, tons of these tea towels with different sayings on them for people. So here is the image that we just created, and when I ironed out the tea towel only because I wanted to make sure that it was nice and wrinkle free, and I determined the center, and there's the bottom here. I determined the center just so that I know where this is, where I want the placement of this. Now, we're gonna iron directly onto the tea towel. I have a Teflon sheet here. This is just so that the heat of the iron doesn't melt the plastic. This plastic's pretty secure, and it's meant for obviously ironing. I also have a tiny little iron here. This is meant for this sort of thing. I don't know if you can see the image through. So basically, I've already turned this on. You can see it's green, and so that it is heated so that it will adhere the vinyl to the tea towel. And it really doesn't take a ton of time, maybe 15 seconds. It depends on your vinyl that you're using. You don't want to be going back and forth like that. You don't want to move it, certainly, but it's pretty easy. I use this all the time. I use this for shows, sometimes for if I'm making costumes, I'll use this on costumes, for design elements or logos. I will use this same technique for that. So it's a really great theater technique to use, not just for tea towels, but for sets. I've used them for pillows, for set dressing, and things like that. So you certainly can use this for a variety of theater applications. The other thing I wanted to mention, just while we're working on this here, is you notice I use the Snoopy and the Disney themes. They were the silhouettes of the Disney characters. You want to be careful. You don't want to use anything that is, or sell anything, make money off of anything that is copyrighted. So if you're using it for your own personal use, that's absolutely fine. I do pay for the Cricut Design Space images, and so it does give me permission to use them for personal use. So that's just something to think about. All right, so I'm going to let this just cool for just a moment, and we'll see how it turns out. So it does get very, very hot, so you want to be careful. Now, literally, just lift the plastic. That looks pretty good. That looks great. So we didn't have any problems with the with adhering. I actually usually go back over it just to be safe, to make sure that it is really fully adhered. And these tea towels, they're not really meant for like scrubbing dishes. They're more for decoration or just, wiping your hands. So it's not like I would recommend you scrub your dishes after a dinner party with them. But they are washable. And, this heat transfer vinyl, you can launder it, so there's nothing to worry about there. Okay. All right, so there we go. So now I added, if you noticed on the examples, I added some trim. So we're going to go back down to the workbench, and I'm going to show you how I added that trim. All right, so I'm back at the workbench, and we've got our tea towel here with our image affixed to it. And so what I'm going to do now is, you could just leave it like this, and that would be amazing. It would look great. People would love it. I happened to get this trim, though, and I just really liked it. I thought it was really cool to add to it. But, the challenge, you could add just a regular ribbon and just sew or use, in this particular case, I'm using a fabric adhesive. It's a permanent fabric adhesive. Normally, like if you're doing costuming, you wouldn't necessarily use this, but for this type of project, it certainly is okay. The challenge is that, it's got all these, the staff obviously here. And so what I decided to do is, like, instead of sewing, the sewing I thought would be tricky because there isn't like a really defined place to sew unless I was really careful and sewed on the staff itself. I thought that might be a little bit tricky. So what I decided to do is to take my fabric adhesive and put a dollop out on my paper plate, and take a toothpick and just basically take the fabric adhesive, and I'm putting it on the large sections of the ribbon. So like on the notes that are there, on the G-clef that's there. And I'm going to tell you, it's been pretty sturdy. The others are all dry. It does take, a little bit of time to dry, but it's permanent. Like, you can launder this. It's not going to come apart. So, you don't want to use hot glue. You don't want to use like a regular white glue. You do want to use a fabric adhesive that's meant for fabric and stays flexible. So that's what this does. So basically what I decided to do is take this, and I chose to put it right at the hemline of the towel right here. And I'm going off the camera a little bit, sorry about that. And then really kind of push that down nice and securely. You can see it's already on there pretty well, but like it said, it'll take a few hours to fully cure. And I'm not adding a ton. I'm just putting a little bit, like I said, on the edge of this toothpick. I don't put really big globs, certainly, because that would seep out onto the towel, and that would not be the look I'm going for. Okay. And then I did go back afterwards, if you want to add to the bottom of the G-clef there, if you're worried about that kind of coming undone, that would certainly be okay. to fix. But literally, I'm just taking a little dab of the glue and putting it on the larger spots of the notes here and on the trim. All right, so again, going back, and I'm lining up the bottom of the staff with the hem line here. And again, it's like, you know, you could leave it. You could just do a plain bottom, and that's fine. I got this massive amount. I got it actually on Temu on that discount site, and I've done a ton of towels with it. So it's lasted me quite a bit of time. So you know, wherever you can find, you know, your local fabric store or whatever. And I'm a huge fan of creating theater-inspired pieces for your home. So I love that take these show titles or these song titles, pardon me, and making something that feels you know, personal for those of us who love theater. I'm a big fan. All right, here we go. Again, lining that up with the bottom, with the hem. And if you notice, I'm pushing it down so that it makes good contact. And literally, I'm just going to continue. So I'm going to continue this, and you don't need to sit and watch me glue all of the notes. And I will get back on camera when I'm done. Okay, there they are. How sweet are they? So if you noticed, I have folded them so that they are kind of in threes, so that the image is right in the center. So you can see how cute those look. I hope you try this. If you have some other ideas of different songs that I could include, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. But thank you for joining me for this week's theater craft, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.